So, welcome, Nancy Abdou. I don't know if you need much introduction, but Australian Dermal and Laser Institute Australia, with lots of history and lots of information I think lots of people would love to hear about. And our listeners will be like this, listening to you. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Marie. It's a privilege and an honor, and it's all exciting. So thank you for having me, and I suppose just for you know trusting me to be here with you.
Oh, pleasure. It's nice to have people that have been in our industry short time, a long time, had a long journey, had an interesting journey. And I know when we spoke previous to today, your journey has been an interesting one. So I think let's talk all things about Nancy, where it began. The audience will like to know the past and the present and the future for Nancy. So let's go back a little bit to where it all started for Nancy.
Gosh, it all started,
Yeah.
I would say about over 23 years ago, with my sisters and I.
Yeah.
So we opened up a number of clinics in here in Melbourne.
Yes.
Um, but I'm going to take it a step further than that. So, growing up as a child, I've always liked to write on the board and tell people what to do and how to do it. And so, when it came to my VCE and uni selection, it was like, what are you going to do? And naturally, it was like a teacher, an educator. So that made sense.
Yeah.
So it goes a long way back. So I ended up doing my degree at RMIT.
Mhm.
Some people might be familiar with that, and that was my degree in education, both with kids and adults. And I did my rounds with kids, and I love kids, and I think they're amazing. But I was like, I can't, like it was the adults where my heart was. And
Mm.
so, many years fast forward, we had the clinics, facial attraction, laser and skin clinics.
Yeah. Where
So
were they? Whereabouts? What area?
so we first started off in Collins Street in Melbourne.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, so in a little, in a little room, treatment room and fitness first, believe it or not. That's how
Oh,
we
yeah.
started. So,
Wow.
and then the next thing, we had a big clinic, a super clinic in Ivanhoe. Then we had a proper clinic, fully fledged clinic in Collins Street itself. And then we had little satellite clinics all over, 15 clinics all over Melbourne. So that was great.
That's massive. And there's probably some questions there. I think listeners always like to know. Some people often say to us, I want to open a second location. And I go, hang on. Is the
Mm.
first one like, is that really clear on, your everything, like from your um, what you really want to achieve to are the team set up? Is the business set up for all the values and the culture and everything else? Was it set up or did you just go next one, next one, next one?
Um, Look, initially the first, what, three or four was like, yeah, next one, next one. We're just so busy. It was just the next one.
Yeah.
But then when you start employing people and you start sort of growing this empire culture, you really had to work on that strategy.
Yeah.
And it was a matter of having people that, and we collaborated with a lot of people. So a lot of people that can positively influence and have the same vision. Because what is
Mm.
the vision? If you don't have a vision, then I always say you're climbing up the ladder, but if it's on the wrong wall, what's the point?
That's it.
So, you have to have structure, you have to have a procedure and specific people managing specific areas of the business. Because I couldn't do it all, my sister couldn't do it all, but
Mm.
everyone has their strengths. And even now, like with small business owners, they try to do their marketing and their social media and, the bookkeeping and
Yes, everything.
manage. You just can't. So I think, why spread yourself thin? Bring people on that can actually help, and if not, profit share it as well. I just think there's plenty to go around. All right.
Yeah, and I remember something you mentioned to me, it's actually I want to write it up somewhere because it's so good. It was right time, right place, right passion. And I thought,
Yeah.
oh, I like that. Like,
Yeah.
did it ever feel as you opened those clinics, this is the right time to do it, right place, or was there lots of mistakes along the way? Or I call them lessons.
They're lessons. Yeah.
Yeah, lots of lessons that you go, you tweak that next time, you change that to open the next one.
Exactly. Lots of lessons. We didn't just to open and open and keep opening. There was a
Mm.
few places that we ended up closing because it just didn't work.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing then with, partnering with people, making sure you partner with the right person, with the right passion, with the right, work ethic and vision.
Mm.
We learnt the hard way. Sometimes we'd have a collaboration and it just wasn't right.
Not
So
right. Yeah. Yeah.
that's another lesson learned, right?
Yeah, and it's so good that you kept going and opened another and changed things, tweaked it, you closed it. Like it gives you that feeling sometimes of, oh, did I fail? But no, you just keep going, don't you? It's that I think that is the thing that drives people that are entrepreneurial and they get to that place where it is just keep going because there's more. There's more. Where some people just stop and just, I'm done.
Hold on, I'm gonna stop you there. Yes, there's
Good.
more, but I always say there might be more satisfaction, more financial rewarding, more,
Yep.
into that tunnel, but there's also more stress. And then
100%.
you got to work out, we needed to work out, is it worth having another, is it then worth
Mm,
that additional stress of, another location, another rent, another staff member? So
mm.
this is where we started licensing. And
Ah,
so it was not quite franchising, but we started licensing.
okay.
And then once we got to a certain point, and at that time I was also a single mum, and my sister, her kids were teenagers and
Yep.
they needed her. It was like, now's enough.
Yeah, yeah.
I think you need to know when is enough enough. I think that's
And it's
important.
so true. I feel like I know for myself and Jay, we got to a certain place where we went, that's enough. Like we feel like we've not grown to where we need to be. I think there's always room for growth, but it could be team, it could be location wise, it could be travel, it could be whatever it might be for you. If it means that you're not doing the things that bring you joy, you need to think about where do I put that stop sign up?
Exactly.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's actually equally as important. Like when
Oh,
to know is it now enough? When to let go of that particular staff member, when
mm.
to let go of a location, when to let go of the business. And that's what we did 13 years ago. It was like we now need to let go and let someone else take it to that next level. So
Great. And then did you sell? Did you? Is that what you
yeah,
sold that part of
yeah.
the yeah,
Yeah,
beauty?
we sold. So we sold all of the locations. Now, it was a bit another lesson here.
Mhm.
They were investors. Did they have passion or was it all about finances?
Yeah.
So instead of them growing our baby, what happened is they cut corners. And I think this is the same, even with the solopreneur, if you
Mm.
start cutting corners and you start thinking it's all about the financial gain, it's all about the money, then people can see that. It's not
Oh,
passion.
yes.
It's the money that's driving it, not your passion, not your care. And so bit by bit, it was like one by one, they all just shut down. And so, yeah, my advice even to solo operators or operators of one or two clinics, just focus on the passion and not the financial gain because the money comes. It
Yeah,
definitely
it's one of those things we always talk about. It's like the client journey. When the touches are missed throughout the client journey, that's when you know for sure that you've got to not necessarily stop growing, but you've got to come back to the basics and the
yeah,
fundamentals and say, well, what's missing? Because we've got complaints or this has happened,
right.
or, so it's really honing in on that whole journey
Yeah,
and how to make sure that we don't miss those important touches. But the important touches could be the herbal tea you give or the nice coffee or it
yes.
could be like the touch of the skin or whatever it might be. It's them things, isn't it? Definitely that needs to keep
100%.
going.
And I always say that, there's a lot of competition and competition's really healthy. And we invited, I remember in our Ivanhoe location, there were 5 clinics on Upper Heidelberg Road. So in one strip of shops, there was 5 of us.
Yeah.
And what we did differently was the touches.
Yeah.
People can compete on price. I don't think we should compete on price. We should be competing on, the quality,
Yes.
making sure that we can deliver the tea. We had
Mm.
like a little mechanical foot massager in the waiting room. And so they'd stick on their little, the freezer bags and put their feet in. And they'd just like, it was just that little touch. It was nothing, didn't cost us much. But the tea, the current magazine, not magazines that are a year old. So that's another one. And it's that, the experience. And that's people will pay for that.
Yeah, that, and you need to have those up-to-date offerings
Yep.
and what is the latest way to pay or what is the, it has to be there, doesn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, you
Yep.
got to be in front of the consumer and be aware of what's available. Mm.
I
Yeah.
totally agree. Yeah.
So after those locations, was there already something in mind for you to go to? Like what did you just sell it and then have a break or what happened?
That was what was supposed to happen. But I ended up having a mental break, actually, or should I say, a mental meltdown.
Yeah.
And not many people know this, but I ended up working for the owner then, managing, and that was the plan to do that for 6 to 12 months, just to do that handover. But instead, I got bullied.
Oh, no.
And what had happened is, the team would keep coming to me if there was a problem, and he'd go, "Why do they keep coming to you? Why are they not coming to me?" So
Mm.
then he must have felt a bit of a power. I don't know. It wasn't intentional on my end, but it was just you build that relationship with your
Yeah.
team. So the next thing, he set me up to fail and did a number of things. And I got really stressed out, went to the doctor, and I said, "Look, I'm starting to have little, like flutters and panic
Yeah.
attacks."
Yeah. Yep.
And they put me onto Lexapro, and my brain reacted. And so with that, I ended up having a drug-induced bipolar episodes,
Oh,
and I
no.
started hallucinating and hearing. I had audible hallucinations, and the next thing, I was I fell into a bit of a deep depression. So
Oh.
that lasted a year, but not failing, surviving, not surviving, I should say, was not an option. It got to a point where I questioned living, and my sisters called the cat team because I was like, what am I doing here? And so because of them, they saved basically my life, because I had already organized what I was going to do just to
Oh.
not stop feeling the pain, if you will.
Mm.
Um, and I didn't have an option. I had a daughter, I had my family, and I worked really, really, really hard to get myself out of that. I had two psychologists and
Mm.
a life coach. And the next thing, I was reading all these books. So Stephen Covey was amazing to at that time. And the next thing, I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Global Beauty actually approached me.
Mm.
And I said to them, look, I'm on pretty strong medication. I don't know if I can work full time. They were like, doesn't matter. We heard you're amazing.
Oh, that's nice,
Come
isn't it?
on board.
Yeah.
And so they did. And slowly, slowly I weaned off my meds, and I started, educating full time. My sisters came and helped me for a bit as well. They were teaching too. And then the next thing, I had a team of 10 with
Wow.
me. Yeah. So that was accidental.
Yeah.
But I was very passionate with what I was, parting with that
Yeah.
knowledge.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so then I got the 7 year itch with Global, and we parted ways. We divorced, and then I went out on my own, of course, and I made a mistake. And this was a mistake. Well, big lesson, really, really big lesson.
Can I go back just a little bit? Like,
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that story because I think there's lots of people that get to a place and personally that I have had some things happen in my own personal world, but you get to get to that place, you sound like you have a very close-knit family. Your sisters have come to the rescue. There is help. And I think that sharing that means a lot to me, but it'll mean a lot to listeners because I think there's lots of people that think, what's next? Like, is this possible? I'm in a bad place. Like I'm not great. So I feel like they're going to get a lot from that. And for
Yeah.
you to just and I know you didn't just jump out of bed and go, I'm here and I'm going to keep going, but you changed your mindset and someone's knocked on your door basically and said, can you come and work for me?
Yeah.
That comes from something else. And I think that comes from determination, hard work, people watching you. And I feel like there's something in that if you show that in every aspect of your life, not just your work, but your personal, that you're a giver, you work hard, you strive to help people, it always comes back to help you.
100%. And it's not, we don't, you and I don't do these things because we think, oh, this is what I'm going to get out of it. It's, when you give a gift,
Yes.
the giver actually is the biggest receiver. And that's what it is for me. When I'm helping clinics get out of, their rut, or if I can give someone who's not, whatever it is, whatever the help is, I'm actually receiving more than what they're actually receiving from me, because then I see them, grow, evolve, succeed, and I get my kicks out of that.
Yeah,
Like I get
it's
so
so true.
excited when I see someone, you know, rising up because of something I've had that impact. So
Yeah.
it's we don't do things because we're getting, well, actually we are getting, aren't we? Yeah, we get our kicks out of what we do. And so I
But
think
it's
then,
emotional, it's not monetary. Like you don't have to get paid for something to do it. It's a giving, like it's a gift to be able to do it. It's like we were talking the other day at our like one of our team retreats, and we were saying, oh, this client had achieved this. And we're like, wow, like it had nothing to do with money. Just think that person's grown. And I think that is massive.
yep, yep. And I
Yeah.
think, yeah, it's a big reward for us to watch that growth,
Yeah.
because then they will hopefully then inspire someone else and keep paying it forward.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. So back to you. So let's go back to where you were up to after Global Beauty Group and you finished there.
Yeah, so I finished there. Then I had another manufacturer approach me and they were like, we want you to train for us. So I was like, great, let's do that.
Mm.
And this is where I say you need to make sure your work ethic, your vision, your mission, the values are aligned. I didn't do that,
Okay.
and I got greedy. And then it became about money. I was like, oh, I can really sort of work, not work, but I can do this and earn quite a bit of money without having to work really hard because of all the promises they made. And I
Right.
didn't do my due diligence and look at who they were. 6 months in, and at that time I had 18 trainers then. It took 6 months to almost double my team,
Hmm.
because we were that busy with work. And so the next thing, they stopped paying invoices, that debt grew. They would pay one, not pay three or four, pay one, and kept saying, yep, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming.
You didn't
And
get it.
then the next thing, they went bankrupt.
Wow.
And everything I had worked for so hard and built, it all came crashing down. And I needed to then decide, do I, because I was also in debt. I'd paid all my trainers, I paid everything that I owed, but it also meant that I was in some serious debt.
Mm.
And so I was then like, do I wrap things up? Do I just go bankrupt myself? I owed the tax department over $200,000 at the time. I owed the bank money. It was bad.
Mm.
And yeah, I remember the day that I was going, no, I can't do that. I need to keep going. And so at that point, again, had, pretty much no trainers. I think there was me and maybe three others that,
Yeah.
that said, no, we're going to stand by you. I was eating pasta for a very long time. Filling up petrol $2 at a time because that's all I could afford.
You
And
know what I always say, Nancy, if you haven't, mince has gone up over time, but if you haven't lived off mince for 3 nights, you haven't lived.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
even go even less than mince, right?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
pasta and rice and
Yeah.
tuna, canned
Yeah.
tuna. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's, that makes you really appreciate, doesn't it, the good times when you have lived through an awful period because financially you had to just eat whatever you needed to eat to survive.
yeah,
But there's something in this, and it's your
yeah.
determination, 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 every stage that you've gone through in your
Yeah.
life.
And that wasn't the first time I'd been in that position. I remember my daughter being 6 months old, and I'd just become a single mum at that point.
Yeah.
I left my husband. She was like 6 months.
Mm.
And the business that I had at that time, I don't know if you remember One Tel back then, but they went belly up.
Yeah.
And that was the very first time. I was 26 at the time and really broke. I owed so much money. And so even back then, as a 26-year-old single mum, I was like, what do I do here? And
Mm.
it was scrounge, get back up, sort of failing was not an option.
Mhm.
And surviving was the only way because I had someone who also depended on me. And
Yeah.
so it hasn't been easy all my life. It's been
No.
challenge after challenge, and it's been me getting up, showing up, and just doing what I do and
Mm.
finding your love and monetizing it in the end, but finding your love and your passion and just yeah, going strong with it. So it
Yeah.
wasn't the first time. So I did it back then. I was like, do it again.
Yeah.
And that was what was COVID was what 19. So this was what 18, 2018.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Well, 2020
then
COVID. Yeah. Yep.
yeah, so I guess yeah, around that time I went I was eating pasta again for the second time. And then a few months later, COVID happened.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
again, it was like fail after not fail, but downfall after downfall. And then I remember my daughter and I going, what are we going to do during COVID?
It's a
And
bit
we were selling alcohol, what do you call it? Hand sanitizer. That's what we did.
sanitizer. See? Determination, determination. Can I ask something? Because I think we have all different listeners around listening to our podcast. So sometimes there's salon owners, teams, sometimes there's entrepreneurs. So they're all different levels. And when I say entrepreneurs, I mean people that have got multi-level businesses. One of the things that I'd love to know is, we have a saying, and I've been through it, Jay's been through it, you've been through it. I think actually probably most people that have been in business get through some point of their life where they're borrowing from Peter to pay Paul as such. How did you get rid of throughout that journey, and it's happened a couple of times for you, like the debt? So did you do things like borrow money, or did you set up payment arrangements with like ATO, or like how
Yeah,
did you get through that?
yeah,
Because that's massive.
yeah. So, yeah, with the payment arrangements, with the ATO, you just basically you write your letters and you explain, what it is you've been through. The ATO didn't forgive the debt. I still had to pay, but that
Yeah.
got to about 300,000 actually.
Yeah.
But what they forgave was the interest.
Nice.
And so
Yeah.
they've said, okay, this is what you need to pay, every month. We'll take away the interest. And I finally paid it off about a year ago. I finished paying my debt off.
Wow. Freedom Day, hey?
Oof. And so
Yeah.
that felt really good that I didn't have that. But, with my parents and my family, it was the same thing. You just knock off a little bit at a time,
Yeah.
and just keep doing what you do. And, now for me, it's my dad always said to me, you always have a bit of money for a rainy day. But what do you do when you've got such a big debt? Then that's gone. So
Well, that's like a thunderstorm hit you, isn't it? Like it's, yeah, tsunami.
a tsunami. Yeah, a
I,
tsunami.
one of the things around that you've just mentioned is there's a lot of people hold it close to their chest. So they say nothing and they hope it goes away.
Oh
So
no.
there's no
I
such thing.
hoped.
No, yeah, you could hope, you
I
could
did
pray.
know I hoped, but it got
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So the thing you've just said though is there's open honesty. You wrote letters, you spoke to your family, friends. You actually said this is where I'm at and I need your support. So whether someone can help you physically, like giving you the cash, or whether they can help you, are you okay? That's what gets you through it and your determination again to
Yeah.
get to the end date. So well done to get to
So
Freedom Day. Oh, it's
thank
such a big
you.
thing,
Thank
isn't it?
you. But no,
Yeah.
definitely it's that honesty. I just think with honesty, some people see it as a weakness and they think, oh, I can't tell people that I'm in trouble psychologically, emotionally, maritally, whatever it is. They can't be open and honest and transparent and say, yeah, I'm drowning here.
Mm.
But it actually takes courage,
It
and
does
it
take
it
courage.
actually makes you a I think people really respect that you're courageous rather than disrespect. And if they disrespect you because you're honest, then they're not your friend.
Well, and I also feel like it's a little bit of a, you could see it on like social media. It's like the facade is their world's perfect because they don't share that information with anyone at all, like even the closest people to them. So their world looks good, and you think, like, when you look at it, the world looks good, but actually it's not.
No,
So,
it's not. And
yeah,
where there's the positive, there's always the flip side as well. And
yeah,
everyone's carrying their own cross and they've got their own journey. And, a lot of people don't see beyond our smiles and beyond our
yeah,
faces or the mask that we wear, right?
yeah.
As an ADHD, I wear it beautifully, right? Yeah, the ADHD mask. But yeah, people don't see that. But behind the scenes, like there is heart and soul, and there's the truth and the pain and tears that we shared. People don't see that, but there's rawness in showing up like that at times, and people like raw and real. And I remember when I started first doing my Facebook lives, just post COVID, one of my sisters said, "Oh, there's too many ums and ahs and buts, and it's really raw." And I'm like, "That's what people want, actually, because
Yeah.
we're human. You and I, we're human. We feel."
That's right. Yeah, you think, well done. Like that's great that you've got out there and done something. So and share your information with the world so it can help somebody else.
Exactly.
Yeah, no,
Exactly.
that's good. So through all of that, there might be more in between that you might want to share, but if
Say
there is,
more. Oh my
yeah,
God.
like anything to do with that, I mean. But now, where are you now? Like I know you have a product brand, so
Yeah,
Skin Individual.
correct.
What's happening now for you? Like where are you? What are you doing? What are
Yes.
you? Yeah.
Yeah, so before I actually got sick 13 years ago, I trademarked the name Skin Individual. So it was something back then I was like, yep, going to have my own, we sold the business, I'm going to have my own product range. Anyway, that got put on the back burner, of course. And then a few years ago, I still had the name, I still had the logo, and I was determined to do something with it. So we've got our own skincare range. It's all made here in Australia, Melbourne. There's a couple of products that come from overseas, but predominantly it's here with Australian botanicals. So we're trying to grow that. There's a few new and exciting developments happening next year with Skin Individual. So that's super exciting.
Mm.
People, I suppose, know us more for our Cellulux masks. That's our biggest seller.
What is it? Sorry.
I'll have to send you some. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I will. Yasmin, can we send some to Marie, please? She's got
I like how you've
um,
got a PA to the side with
yeah.
you. Good.
She does all the marketing. She's amazing. My
Good.
daughter, again, it's a family business. Again, she does all the digital assets, anything digital. That's what Yasmin does. So we've got this mask. You can utilize it under an LED,
Okay.
which was one of its first. So, and it's price pointed really well. But basically, it's a sheet mask,
Yeah, nice.
and that is our biggest seller. So people are knowing us because of that. So we're developing more masks because I think, let's keep that sort of trajectory going. And then aside from that, there's a whole heap of other things that we do. I started selling devices not long ago.
Mhm.
Um, if I could train for others, well, why can't we train for ourselves and do it
Yeah.
amazingly with some really well price pointed devices? Like you don't have to go and spend 200,000 or 100,000.
Yeah.
So,
What sort of devices do you sell? Just so it gives our listeners an
oh
indication.
gosh, everything from we've got a laser that mimics a Pico actually, so a Q switch, right through to radio frequency. We've got a new IPL
Nice.
launching next year, early next year. Just waiting for the TGA. Radio frequency, high through LED.
Yeah.
So if someone's looking to start a business, our pricing is at that point, but the quality is it matches what our value and our name, if that makes sense. So I made sure
Definitely.
that the quality is there, but the price point is you can afford it.
Yeah. So you've got a product brand, you've got anything to help using for within treatments as well.
Yeah.
And what about your education? Like you mentioned education. So what
Yeah.
are you doing now?
Well, that's at the heart of everything. So
Mm.
behind everything that we do, so whether it's the skincare, the devices, or
Yeah.
whatever it might be, education is my number one priority. So I still teach clinics who don't want to buy a device. They might have a device that's sitting there, or they don't know how to use it. They've got new staff, or they want to learn how to combine modalities. That's where we get the phone call, and people say, "Look, we've got this machine. It's not being used. Don't know how to use it. Can you come in?" So I do still do that, and I love doing that because that's my passion.
Yeah.
And same thing with our skincare. There's a whole heap of education with, Skin Individual. We've also got Lara Medical, so it's another range we bring in from Spain.
Mhm.
We've made this massive education portal to the point where the owner last week sent me a message and he said, "Can we have it?" I'm like,
Oh.
no, we built that. But yeah, we're known for it. We're renowned for that education. I think without education, like what's the point?
Well,
Without
we have to
training.
keep learning, don't we? If we don't keep learning, we become stagnant and stale. We need to always be evolving in ourselves.
Absolutely. And that
Yeah.
would be the same with you or with a clinic owner or I think any business really. Like we need to
Mhm.
keep our knowledge base going. That's
Yeah,
important.
so good, so good. You've shared
A
so
lot.
much of you personally, and the rawness of this has been like amazing. So I really appreciate what you've shared with our listeners today. Where would we find Nancy? What's the best way? Maybe website, Instagram, you tell me.
Well, look, I suppose if you just type Tadley into Google, it'll come up. So the Australian Dermal and Laser Institute, or just abbreviated Tadley.
So
Uh,
TADLI, isn't it?
yeah,
TADI, yes, yep.
yeah, Institute. So either that or Instagram, Dermal and Laser is our handle. We would love to have more followers come on board. We're just a little bit short of 10,000. So we would love some followers there just to get
Yeah,
that number going. But otherwise, yeah, Facebook, Nancy Abdou.
yeah,
Or
awesome.
Tadley, actually. I shouldn't give my personal. It's because it's part of us, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Our
So
business is us. So it's Tadley. Go have a look at Tadley.
Tadley, TADLI. So
Yeah,
I think where they find you, I'm sure there's a link that comes back to your
definitely.
business. And yeah, thank you for today, and thank you for sharing
No,
this.
thank you.
Yeah, it's your raw story, and not many people will do that. So I do really appreciate, and the listeners will love it. So thank you, Nancy.
No, thank you, Marie. And look, I do hope it gives people hope. And I just think, if I can do it, I'm not anyone, different to you or the next person next to us. We've all got opportunity. But if I can do it, you can do it. And I think if you don't know how, then reach out. More than happy to give a bit of guidance and a bit of help. I went from, in a bathroom, I chopped all my hair off because I was completely didn't know what and
What?
who I was, yeah,
Yeah.
to here we are today talking to you. And, thank you for giving me the opportunity to share that story. I'm honored. Thank you so much.
Well, absolute pleasure. I always think your hair looks amazing. So anyone watching, the, but the other thing is one word for you. It's determination, and you and your team, your sisters, because I know they've been a big part of your journey.
100%.
Determination. So big well done to you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I love
Pleasure.
your work. Thank you so
Pleasure.
much. Yeah, amazing.